All right. Good evening, everyone. It is awesome to have you all here. If you served on the vision team, as I'm speaking here, I would invite you to just come up and join me on the platform. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Brandon Schreiner. I am currently the chair of the church council, and I also helped to coordinate the vision team's efforts. First of all, I want to thank you all for being here tonight, taking time out of your schedule to attend this vision celebration and to learn a little bit more about our congregation's new vision and strategy. The vision team, most of which you are joining me here on the platform, was formed by the church council for the purpose of discerning God's call for our congregation. Now, most of this team standing here with me, and we had a couple of others that couldn't be here today, but this is most of the team. Their work drew upon feedback from the congregational survey that I hope all of you participated in about a year ago, so it would have been last November. And also in communication with leaders across all of the ministries of our church. Now, this team's work was done prayerfully, and it was reaffirmed and echoed at multiple points throughout this ongoing conversation. So it wasn't just kind of this team working in isolation. I just want to say that I am genuinely thankful to God for offering wisdom and ensuring that the Holy Spirit was present with us throughout our conversations and throughout the vision team's efforts. I want to take a moment here to emphasize that the purpose for this process and for the resulting vision was not to try to change FVUMC's DNA. That was not what this effort was about. We are a 100-plus-year-old church. The starting assumption for this team was that we basically already know who we are. We felt like we already also have an understanding of our mission and our values as a congregation, and so that's not changing, right? That's not the point of the work that was done here. I don't think that anybody here today is going to hear anything that's going to make you think, like, that doesn't sound like us at all. I don't think that's going to be the case. But we felt that knowing who we are is not the same thing as knowing where we're going. And so what the vision gives us is the ability to articulate a clearly defined, God-inspired direction and destination for our collective ministry for the next 5 years. And we've invited all of you here today to kind of share the output of that work. That being said, today is for sure a milestone that marks the culmination of this team's efforts and the end of the work that we have asked them to do. So I'd like to just take a moment to acknowledge these servant leaders and to thank them for their commitment to developing everything that you're going to hear about today. So Vision Team, we thank you for your service. Thank you. If you could. Yep, Vision Team, you can have a seat, and I'm going to invite the praise team to join me up here. And while they move, I'm going to share with you 3 key themes that the Vision Team uncovered as we studied the survey feedback last fall. First of all, there was a real sense, kind of through many, many responses, that we have a responsibility to care for our community, both in terms of mission and outreach, and also in terms of spiritual stewardship. So a very kind of clear signal, sense of responsibility to our community. Second, your feedback expressed the importance of the family atmosphere that we have here and how we don't want to lose that as we grow. We want to continue to feel like a family who knows each other and is known by each other. And then the third survey theme that we picked out was about being anchored to Christ-centered priorities. So even through diverse backgrounds and convictions, what we heard is that Jesus matters to you. Jesus matters to us. Jesus matters to the world. And it's only by orienting our lives around Christ and working together as the one body of Christ that we can achieve what God has called us to do. We are, above all, a faith community who are bound together by a shared love and reverence for the God who loves us and leads us. And I think it's important that we hold that together with these conversations about the future and our planning. So to ground ourselves in that space, we'd like to invite you to join us in a few minutes of worship time together. So praise team, I'm going to invite you to come here across, and we're going to go ahead and get started. You do not have to stand, but by all means, if you would like to stand, please do. Whether you stand or not, please do sing with us. Yeah, if you would like to stand, please go ahead.
Spirit sound, rushing wind, fire of God fall within. Holy Ghost, breathe on us, we pray. As we repent, turn from sin, revival's embers smoldering. Breath of God, fan us into flame.
We need a fresh wind, the fragrance of heaven. Pour your spirit out, pour your spirit out.
That burn with holy fear, purified in faith and deed, refine us by your strength and what remains. So we the church, who bear your light, lamp of flame, city bright, King and kingdom come is what we pray. Yeah, we need a fresh wind, the fragrance of heaven. Pour your spirit out, pour your spirit out. A holy anointing, the power of your presence. Pour your spirit out, pour your spirit out.
Prophesy and sing. We can hear the wind blowing, blowing, blowing.
Move upon our praise, sons and daughters sing. We can hear the wind blowing, blowing, blowing. Let all the redeemed prophesy and sing. We can hear the wind blowing, blowing, blowing. Move upon our praise, sons and daughters sing. We can hear the wind blowing, blowing. We need a fresh wind, the fragrance of heaven. Pour your spirit out, pour your spirit out. A holy anointing, the power of your presence. Pour your spirit out, pour your spirit out, pour your spirit out.
I honestly wish you could all hear what that sounds like from up here. That's really amazing. We're going to continue singing a more traditional song, Surely the Presence of the Lord is in this place. I imagine many of you know it. If you know harmony to it, please go ahead and sing that. We're going to keep it kind of sparse on the vocal mics so that we can sort of hear one another.
Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. I can feel his mighty power and his grace. I can hear the brush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. Sing that again. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. I can feel his mighty power and his grace. I can hear the brush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. I can feel his mighty power and his grace.
Presence of the Lord is in this place. Surely God is with us now. You are the God of Abraham, the God of Jacob, of Moses and Miriam, the God of Ruth and Naomi. You are as vast as the sea and as expansive as time, and yet you are a God who knows us and calls us by name. Holy God, you have been with us across time and again, as we have created new space for new people in our community. Every time we've had God-sized dreams, you've shown up and met us. We ask that you would meet us again in this holy place. God, today, as we spend some time dreaming about what you are inviting us into, we recognize that we come to this holy work humbly, believing and trusting not in the work of our hands or in the power of our ability to do great things, but we come to this work knowing and trusting that the aim of all that we do is to glorify your great name. Because you are a God of grand creativity, we know that you are at work with us in this place and beyond us, stirring up life and beauty and wholeness in the most unexpected of places. Remind us today that you invite us to co-labor with you. Remind us that at the heart of all of our dreams and our plans and our greatest hope is one that we already know to be true, that we are known and loved by you. God, for the work that you are calling us to that is within us, we ask that you would stir up in us a desire to love and serve you. Stir up the kind of love that spills over into all of the places that we live and work and play. And for the work that you have called us to that is far beyond us, we ask that you would give us the kind of courage and love that abounds, such that others may know you by our love and our care that always magnifies your name. Amen.
Let's sing that one more time.
Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. I can feel his mighty power and his grace. I can hear the brush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. All right, I invite you to be seated.
Well, if we haven't met yet, my name is Owen. I'm one of the pastors here. It's good to be together with all of you this afternoon, again, today. Here's my job tonight is to MC, basically. We wanted to make sure that as you were hearing bits and pieces of our sort of work from the Vision team shared today, that you were hearing it in their voice and with their words. We wanted to make sure that we could do that in an amount of time that was faithful to your time. And also, we wanted to be able to share that outside of this room after it disbands later throughout the month on Sunday mornings. And so much of what you're going to hear from them is going to come by way of video. The people that are sitting at your table will magically be on the screen in front of you. But it's going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot of information. And that's good because we've got 5 years or so, by which point in time this congregation will reach its 125th anniversary. And yeah. And so if all we had was 2 sentences, and then we said, good luck, let's figure that out, I feel like it would be lacking. And so the team that was just before you a moment ago has spent some time helping not just tell us where we're headed, but how they think we might get there. And I want to give you a framework to kind of hold that together. Before I do, I just would love to share my excitement for what you're getting ready to hear. I think all afternoon long, I think it's big, honestly. It feels like a stressful amount of things to have to accomplish in the next 5 years. And I think that that's good. Because if it's something that we could do under our own power and by our own spirit, it would not be accomplishable. But I trust that with the Spirit of God pushing and pulling us in the direction that God desires for us to go, it will be. And then the second thing that I did want to say was that I'm really, really grateful for Brandon's leadership. He wouldn't let us put that in the script, but his humble leadership and the work of the whole team has been an amazing thing to watch and to behold. Okay, so if you've ever been stuck with me in any sort of a group or class, you know that as Kyle calls it, I have an affinity for spiritual geometry. I love shapes. They're easy. They're frameworks. I can remember these things. So I want to show you a framework, okay? You've got a copy of this in the booklet that's on your table there. If you want to make notes in it, you can. It's in the first page. Just for a second with me, let's say you're going on a trip somewhere and you've decided where you want to go. You've got a destination in mind, but now you've got to decide how you're going to get there. Once you know the destination, you've got to know the waypoints, right? You got to know the waypoints, how you're going to get there. But if that's all you're looking at is the map, it's real hard to drive. So we spend most of our time when we're on a trip headed towards waypoints that are going to get us to a destination looking out of the windshield. We want to see what's in front of us. We want to make sure that we've got a good view of what we're coming up against quickly. But we can't just drive looking at that. We have to look at our mirrors. We've got to watch our gas gauge, our speedometer. We've got to look at our dashboard, right? What you're going to hear today, and why I think this framework is helpful, is that's basically what we're going to do. The first thing you're going to hear is our destination. It's the big sort of transformed lives, transformed communities. Our vision is to be, and we're going to unroll that, okay? After we do that, our destination, where we hope that we're headed, where we believe God is calling us to go, we're going to share with you 4 waypoints, things that we can be working on to help get us to that destination. And then every year of the next 5 years, we're going to have an annual focus. If you were with us in worship this morning, you heard us begin the work of unveiling that, right? To know and to be known. And that's going to be the work of the year that's ahead of us. And that's like our windshield view of the vision. And then 3 times a year, we'll cycle through a set of 90-day goals, which a steering team is going to help set. You'll hear about that in a little bit. And they will kind of be our dashboard for whether or not we're on track, going to the place we can see out of our windshield as we head to our next waypoint, as ultimately we get to our destination. You with me? All right. Now, as we go along through all of this, you're going to hear the word transformational enough times to make you sick. And that's good because that means you'll remember it. You know, when a commercial comes on, you're like, I hate this commercial. They just won. They just won, right? You're going to hear transformational a lot because ultimately our compass, our vision compass, this sort of guiding principle for us over the next 5 years is always pointing and pushing us towards God's transformational love. If we were to hear everything that is to come and we were to say, we've got a lot of work to do, let's go accomplish these things, let's go tackle this, it would be not the right place to start. We have to start by allowing God to do God's work in us before we can ever hope to do any of God's work in the world. And so we will say, and you will hear us say it regularly, if we're going to transform community, if we want to be a part of making the world a different place, we've got to invite God to do that work in us because transformed lives, at the end of the day, are what transform communities. I invite you to hear now our destination, that top one of the 1-4-1-4 grid. Here we go.
Guided by our new strategic vision, our congregation is setting a course grounded in our understanding of God's vision for our church's mission and ministry. Now, to start with, we know through the mission statement of our denomination that every United Methodist Church is called to make disciples of Jesus Christ for the transformation of the world. But what does God want more specifically for our FVUMC church family to do? How do we apply that broad mission in our specific context? The vision team was tasked by church council to spend the first half of 2023 prayerfully discerning God's will for FVUMC. And to that end, the team developed a vision statement for our church to be used like a compass to guide our choices and actions at least through 2028, which happens to be the 125th anniversary of FVUMC's founding. The statement reads, our vision is to be a hub for Wesleyan discipleship and mission in the greater Fuquay-Varina area, where 100% of our church family is in discipling relationships so that our lives and community are transformed to look more like Jesus. Now, there's a lot to unpack in that statement, so let's dive deeper into each part of this vision. Our vision is to be a hub.
We want to be a catalyst for connection within our community by establishing or reinvigorating relationships with other organizations in our community. We can facilitate the creation of a broader network, an outreach coalition to meet more of the real needs of our neighbors.
For Wesleyan discipleship and mission in the greater Fuquay-Varina area,
as a Wesleyan faith community, we're compelled to answer God's call to a life of discipleship and mission. Discipleship and mission are 2 parts of the same call, and both must be part of our everyday lives. Learning and growing in our faith always includes a call to serve others.
We are purposefully not defining boundaries in this vision. Who we serve is not confined by lines on a map. FVUMC is a well, offering life-giving water to all. We do not ascribe to fences setting boundaries. We envision FVUMC being a place where we can come together and are refreshed and renewed so that we might go out into the surrounding areas to serve.
Where 100% of our church family is in discipling relationships.
Relationships are at the core of the expression of Methodist faith, and they're at the core of how we get through life together. Specifying discipleship relationships helps keep us focused on growing our relationship with God, while also serving as accountability partners with others in our church family as we all move through our own faith journey. Throughout the vision team's conversations, we kept coming back to the idea that relationships are really at the heart of what we want to be about and what we think our congregation wants to be about. Being a community of disciples, living and serving together is our call.
So that our lives and community are transformed to look more like Jesus.
The mission of the United Methodist Church is to make disciples for Jesus Christ for the transformation of the world. That's what we're all about. And there's a phrase we feel summarizes this aspect: transform lives, transform communities. getting our people together, being a family together, engaging in relationship together, and worshiping together, discipling together. All of this is done with the hope and expectation that through these relationships, God will transform us. As a result, our whole community will be transformed to look more like Jesus.
Look, guys, on the video, nice work. In a little bit, we're going to have a chance to share around the table. So I would encourage you, just as you're sitting with these things, as you're hearing them for the first time, if something stands out to you, write it down, even if you don't know why. Pay attention to that thing. If something excites you, make a note of it, and you're going to have a chance to have some conversation around your tables and share out in just a little bit. Transformed lives, transformed communities. We really do hope that that phrase becomes a part of the DNA of our church community and serves to guide us over the next couple of years. One of the primary metaphors for our life of faith is a journey, right? And I feel like churches are great at helping people along their faith journey. Some tend to be really good at helping people get started on their faith journey, and that's amazing. That's amazing. Some churches tend to be better at helping people who are already well along in their journey of faith find deeper meaning, deeper relationship, deeper belonging with one another, and that is awesome. But we found ourselves asking the question and wondering, what would it be like if we were a church that could help everyone, wherever they are in their journey of faith, engage where they are and then take the next step in that journey? If we could meet every single person where they were and then help them along, coming alongside of them to give them tools to own their own faith, serving folks to serve as wise mentors and friends on the journey as we help them along. So now we're going to hear from about the first two focus areas, or these waypoints that we were talking about, for members of our vision team.
Good afternoon. My name is Ricky Tharrington. I'm an at-large member of the Church Council, and I also served on the Vision team. I've been asked to present you with information about our transformational discipleship pathway. The Vision team summarized this strategic focus area as follows. With God's help, we will define and deploy an intentional discipleship pathway so that we are equipped to live as everyday disciples, continuously growing in deeper personal and collective relationship with Christ. The team identified Ephesians 4:12 through 13 as a scriptural reference for this strategy. Our goal is that the number of people participating in an accountable discipling relationship equals our average weekly worship attendance. We are all progressing in our faith journey along what may be called a discipling pathway. Clarifying if a FVUMC version of the discipleship pathway allows our entire congregation, all ages and stages, to use shared common language to help us align as we all grow in our relationship with God and one another. This pathway development work has already been started by our pastors, our staff, and our discipleship team.
You're going to tap down. There you go. Hello.
Director of Discipleship here at FVUMC. Ricky's coming up here too. I'm excited to share with you that our work in developing a transformational discipleship pathway is already well underway. The pathway is being developed to equip us at every age, children, youth, and adults, to deepen our relationship with God. There are 4 steps along the discipleship pathway that you can see up on the screen. And ultimately, no matter which season people find themselves in, our goal is to create clear opportunities to help people take the next step of their discipleship journey. And so we've launched 2 of 4 core classes designed to equip people with practical tools to help them own their own faith. Through Core 1, Everyday Discipleship, over 175 people have already learned the tools to listen for God in daily life, respond to what God is saying, and help others to do the same. And through Core 2, Gifted by the Spirit, over 100 people have been equipped with tools to identify the gifts that God has given them and discern how God is calling them to use those gifts within and beyond the church in all the places where they live, work, and play. Core 3, How to Read the Bible, and Core 4, Building Missional Community, are also in the works.
Thanks, Shelby. Already, In both Core 1 and Core 2, we are building community while we are building discipleship. Both Core 1 and Core 2 are designed with teaching sessions and then a small group table discussion afterwards. An exciting trend that we're seeing is that small groups who do Core 1 together stick together to do Core 2 together, building that community. We've also had many new folks stepping up to serve as small group leaders. It's so powerful to hear from people who have done both Core 1 and Core 2 and find it so valuable to their own walk that they want to repeat the program and serve as a shepherd to others. This is exactly the kind of servant leadership our vision team points toward, and you'll hear more about that later today.
You can stay up here and hang out with me. Another exciting thing that I want to share is that our vision to serve as a hub of Wesleyan discipleship, combined with the core program, are helping to bring alignment and focus to our discipleship ministry at all age levels. And so this fall, our youth and children's ministries are centered on the core theme of everyday faith. And at this very moment, down the hall, our children, many of your children, are learning what it looks like to know and be known by God and others in community in their Sunday afternoon small groups. And our youth have been away this weekend and just got back this afternoon from a life group retreat, which marks the beginning of their own exploration to know and be known this year. And while that looks different depending on age and stage, our goal is to equip each one of us to live into God's call to discipleship. We're so excited about all of the discipleship growth that is happening and really looking forward to seeing how God continues to lead us in the future.
For a second, Ricky was going to play the piano underneath you. Maybe next time. Chopsticks? Awesome. Well, thank you guys for that update as well. All right. We've got one more focus area to get you through. Before we do, I wanted to share an excerpt from a news article that was written a few years ago in 1904. Okay, so you'll note that Fuquay-Varina United Methodist Church in its current form was actually started in 1903. That was Fuquay Springs at the time. And I read this to kind of point back to something Brandon said a second ago, which was that this is not like a vast change of who we are as a congregation, but it is a clarifying and directing and dreaming a bigger dream than maybe we would dream by default for ourselves. So here's what it says in the article. The article was celebrating the dedication of the original sanctuary. Okay, so since that time, there's been one. So this would be the third sanctuary. Is that right? Third sanctuary. Okay, here we go. This was in the North Carolina Christian Advocate in an article entitled, "In the Land of Fuquay." Okay. The Methodists have every nerve strained to build up their church. They are a zealous set. Considering the fact that Fuquay Springs is a strategic point and is destined to become a center of strong influence, and that the Methodists are so zealous and ambitious, we feel that the church there should have a missionary appropriation and become a station church. With the help of a missionary appropriation, the little band down there could easily support a preacher. The possibilities for growth are marvelous. Okay, first of all, what do you think that person would have said in this room today? I feel like that person's heart would have exploded in a good way. I also love the fact that we Methodists here in the land of Fuquay are still a zealous band, right? Dreaming big dreams, not just for what is, but for all the neighbors that will come. Right? I think we've known for some time that the space that we're in has limited capacities. We're trying to deal with a lot of those parts and pieces through R3, which is currently going on. But part of our second focus area is not just to make sure that there is enough square footage. It's to make sure that the square footage we have is conducive to the work that we believe needs to be done within it. Site focus area number 1, discipling relationships, discipleship pathway. That we want to make sure that all of our environments, whether they're online or in person, are designed to help facilitate that kind of an opportunity. A couple of weeks ago, there's like 38 kids in Mr. Frank's class down on the children's wing, and someone says, "What did we learn today?" to kind of summarize the lesson, and they said, "That it's hot in here." We may have missed the discipleship mark, and I don't think that was Frank's fault. I feel like we know and we see exactly what we're talking about there. And so together, we envision and ask, what if every disciple, whether online or in person, from the small to the tall, felt like this home was their home, and a space was designed just for them to belong and to grow? Our second focus area.
Hello, my name is Jenna Ramsey. I am one of FVUMC's lay leaders and also served on the Vision team. I've been asked to present to you information about our transformational discipleship environments. The Vision team summarized this strategic focus area as follows. With God's help, we will design immersive discipleship environments that are purposeful and hospitable. Our goal is to deliver a forward-focused facilities plan informed by the evolving needs of our discipleship environments. The team identified 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verses 6 through 9 as the spiritual reference for this strategy. I want to challenge you to expand your concept of the word environment as you hear and implement this strategy. Transformational discipleship environments, whether physical or online, exist to support life-giving ministry. Intentionality is the essential element. How can the environments we offer make it possible to know and be known by God, to foster deeper relationships and a sense of community, and help each of us move along the discipleship pathway? Consider the venue worship. Since it is fully online, many of the typical in-person worship elements must be intentionally adapted to support a true worship experience for the congregation in an online environment. Consider also how different it would be for our youngest disciples to gather in the Camp Quay Kids Room, which is being developed as part of our R3 projects. The room is going to be very intentionally designed to help our kids know and be known by God. No more distractions of having too many kids crammed into a room that's too small and too warm. We want our children to be able to focus on the day's teaching and deepen their relationship with Jesus. Another example of a transformational environment is the new patio on the front lawn. It is just a few bricks laid down on the ground, right? Wrong. It is a place where people are gathering, getting to know new folks, enjoying fellowship, having small group meetings, enjoying coffee. We have an environment that can intentionally cultivate community, which is another essential part of discipleship. I invite you to pray alongside with me and so many others as we explore transformational discipleship environments.
All right. Thank you, Jenna. Well, friends, we are halfway through. We've got 2 of our 4 focus areas, and hopefully we have all met before, but if not, my name is Hope, and I serve as one of the pastors here, and I also served on the Vision team as well. So, as I said a second ago, we have gone through 2 of our 4 different focus areas, and we're going to take a break for a couple minutes for some discussion around your tables. All of you should have a table leader at your table. If you do not, just find one of us staff folks, or Matt is in the back, he and Brandon, and they will help point you in the right direction if you need it, but I think everyone has one. And on your table leader's papers are some questions for discussion. So those will be the 2 questions that we will be discussing today. We'll have about 15 minutes, so take your time for this discussion time. I'll give you a heads up at about 2 minutes left so that you know you need to wrap things up. And please note that as you take notes and as you ask questions, we are going to receive all of your feedback and put together a FAQ page. And so if you do have questions that you think somebody else might have, just make sure you say to your table leader, hey, can you make sure you write that down? Because somebody else probably also has that question. And that will be really helpful to us as we go along. And Also, I recognize that some of you are around a table with folks that you know well and love, or maybe that you came with. I also recognize that some of you are at tables with somebody that you have never met before, but you've been staring at them for the past 35 minutes. So, as we begin, I'd also encourage you to introduce yourself around the table, and then table leaders, if you can ask the 2 questions, and just so we make sure we're on the right page. The first one is reflect on what is most exciting to you in this vision. With that in mind, what do you hope to see happen as an outcome of this vision? And second, thinking about our first 2 focus areas, transformational discipleship pathway and transformational discipling environments, where do you see possible connections with the ministries in which you participate and serve? So introduce yourself and then answer those 2 questions, and we will come back in about 15 minutes. All right, we are going to come on back together. I love the hubbub in the room and all of the excitement about the vision, all of the questions and excitement at my table just makes me excited for all that is ahead. So hopefully if you were the table leader, took some notes. And again, we will be taking all of your questions and feedback and be putting it into a frequently asked questions that'll be on the website. And all of that will be available about a week from now, and you can find that there. And if you have questions as you go along, maybe you're a table leader and you're like, I didn't know the answer to this, we would be more than happy to get you that answer tonight if we can, if not, next week. All right, ready to keep going?
Let's do it.
All right.
All right, so in this next segment here, we're going to hear about our 2 final strategic focus areas, all right, 2 more waypoints, and then our windshield, our 2024 annual focus. The third focus area is called transformational community partnerships. And all of them, this one, I think, presses me to ask the bigger questions. So I think through this lens, we can ask important questions such as, is it possible for everyone in the greater Fuquay-Varina area to have all the food they need, to have all the clothes they need, to have all the shelter they need, to have a seat on a pew in a church family, to have access to work or to health care or to a friend? Is it possible for all of this to be possible? And the answer to that is not if we're trying to do it by ourselves. God calls us to do these things, but God does not call us to do them alone. God calls us to work together to care for our neighbors, and I think we can do that. Let's check out this third focus area.
Hello, my name is Mitch Morgan. I'm a member of the Church Council and also served on the Vision team. I've been asked to present to you information about our transformational community partnerships. The Vision team summarized this strategic focus area as follows. With God's help, we will establish a network of collaborative partnerships to relationally serve with our local community, demonstrating God's goodness and generosity to everyone. Our goal is to establish or reinvigorate 12 organizational partnerships. The team identified Acts 2, verses 44 through 47 as a scriptural reference for this strategy. Your feedback through our vision survey last fall reaffirmed that caring for our neighbors is a top congregational priority. Our Wesleyan heritage calls us to serve together with other faith communities, local resources, and other organizations, and we believe our church is in a unique place of opportunity to make these vital connections and serve local unmet needs. So rather than create redundant ministries, we seek collaborative partners to help multiply the positive impact in our region. The greater Fuquay-Varina area continues to grow by leaps and bounds, and with that growth comes a need for more infrastructure and resources. The needs are real, and we know that everything works better when we're working together. By fostering and strengthening connections to other outreach efforts in our community, we can truly make a difference. This is where our vision to be a hub, a catalyst, can reach well beyond our walls. This is an exciting opportunity for our congregation to help foster more collaboration throughout our area. We already have pastors and folks on the missions team reaching out to existing programs in the community to help us get a jump start on this focus area. It's an exciting time for our congregation to reaffirm that mission is in our DNA.
I was just reflecting. My wife and I made some friends, and we started inviting them over to our house. And then one day they were talking, and they went out to eat to dinner, but didn't invite us. At first, I was offended by that. The only reason y'all know each other is because we invited you over to our house. And then I realized in that moment that we were no longer making friends, but we were building a family, right? When we put hub in the words of our vision, it's not because we want to be at the center of everything. It's that we hope we're doing something more than having to be at the center of everything. But we are creating fruitful connections all around the Fuquay-Varina region so that we can do this work together. It's been said that God does not call the equipped, but equips the called. And that's true, I believe, for us as a congregation. Can I help you find someone? It looks like you're looking for someone. Laurie? Which Laurie? Laurie Knapp? Going once? Gabby is a trustworthy individual, but I did not trust that line. Woo. She didn't seem panicky, right? She didn't seem panicky. That's good. I'm sure I can't help, though. That I feel confident of. Okay. It's been said that God does not call the equipped, but equips the called. And this is not just true for us as congregations and community partners. It's also true for us as individuals. God has gifted each and every one of us with exactly what we need in order to do what God is calling us to do, to serve one another, to serve our church family, and to lead the church out into the community. If we think back for a second to discipleship pathway that we just discussed in focus area number 1, we want to help all of our congregation, all the folks that are part of our church family, to name their gifts. Can you imagine what it would look like for us to be a church where everybody knows their gifts, knows that their gifts are valued, and feels equipped to answer God's call in their lives to develop and deploy those gifts to do God's work in all the places that they live, work, and play? That is the focus of focus area number 4.
Hello, my name is Matt Herenstein. I co-lead FVUMC's Nominations and Lay Leadership Development Committee along with Pastor Owen, and I was also on the Vision team. I've been asked to present to you information about our transformational servant leadership. The Vision team summarized the strategic focus area as follows. With God's help, we will cultivate a culture of servant leadership so that every person is equipped and empowered to use their God-given gifts. Our goal is to define a process for developing new servant leaders, which every small group leader, admin team leader, and ministry team leader is using to mentor at least one person. The team identified Ephesians 4:11 as a scriptural reference for this strategy. As Jenna challenged you earlier to expand your concept of environments, I am hoping tonight to expand our collective understanding of the word leader. Our hope is that you are willing to broaden your interpretation so that your concept of a leader includes every individual at every age. Consider this. God made each of us. God gave each of us gifts. God has a vision for each of our lives. And through this lens, we can see that each of us is living a life of discipleship that has deeper meaning by serving as a leader, an example to those around us. Living a Jesus-focused life as a servant leader is the key to our understanding of our individual roles in God's kingdom on earth. Our hope then is that you will challenge yourself to broaden your interpretation so that your concept of a leader includes each individual at every age. Now, I know that for some of you, the idea that you could possibly be called a leader makes you uncomfortable, just doesn't feel right, or makes you want to run out the door. Believe me, you are not alone. And this was a topic of much discussion within the Vision Team meetings. But there's a reason we hope you will embrace this idea. By acknowledging that you are leading in some aspect of your life, whether with family, at work, or simply in the mundane moments of life, such as how we respond to a long checkout line at the store, you can step more fully into the gifts God has given specifically to you. Our example, our attitude, and our humility in sharing our gifts can all offer examples of servant leadership to those around us. While expanding our understanding of leadership, the goal for this focus area seeks to expand the number of people equipped to lead small groups and teams. As we live into this vision of God's preferred future for our congregation, we believe more people will be drawn to FVUMC. In order for our entire congregation to thrive and grow, we must be training up new leaders, growing new small groups, and equipping more people to serve.
All right, so those are our 4 focus areas. Do we have the slide that shows us the 1-4-1-4 grid? All right, so we've done our destination. Now we've gotten through our 4 waypoints. The last thing we want to give you before we wrap up our time today is this annual focus, right? Looking out the windshield. So if we look out the windshield the next 10 months, what is it that we feel like we need to go and get after together as a congregation? If you were with us in worship this morning, online or in person, I spent 20 minutes talking a little bit about it, and I'm going to spend the next few weeks. So I'm not going to use any of my other content. So take it away.
Hello, my name is Lisa Gant, and I'm a member of the Vision team. Pastor Hope and I have been asked to present you information about our 2024 annual focus. The Vision team summarized the focus area as follows. We invite every person to know and be known within our church family, developing deeper relationships with God and each other. Our goal is to have 400 people commit to cultivate 6 new meaningful relationships over the course of the next year. I want you to know I'm really excited about this focus area. As one of the folks who isn't super comfortable with the idea of being considered a leader, I'm still getting my head wrapped around that focus. I was excited to present this one because I really feel like it's so important. As a teacher, I know firsthand the impact it makes when our kids and our families connect and really feel a sense of community. We've been talking about the importance of cultivating community for a while now, and that's a big part of this 2024 focus. In fact, the way we decided on the goal of cultivating 6 new meaningful relationships comes from the idea that it's fairly common to see 6 people together at a table. I also feel it's very important for our neighbors in the Fuquay area to know more about FVUMC and what we believe in.
Absolutely. I was just sitting at a table with about 6 people at our Wednesday meal and was thinking about this goal. The words for our vision and focus area were selected carefully, and I'd like to dig into that a little bit. First, the phrase know and be known. You're going to be hearing that quite often, and there's something to me that's remarkably profound in the simple act of knowing and being known by one another. Think about one example of someone who knows you well, and you know them just as well. And think for a second about what that feels like. Now, stop and think about our God. Our God created the universe and everything in it. And that God knows you and wants to be known by you. Let that sink in. The God who created the universe knows you and wants to be known by you. As we dive into this idea, we're going to explore the difference it can make in each of our lives. We're also going to challenge you to press into a vital faith, actively pursuing a relationship with God, who is busy pursuing a relationship with you.
So that's the personal, individual way for each of us to sink into the phrase know and be known. There's also a broader interpretation, which is also crucial to our collective work over the next year. Based on your responses to the congregational survey, we know that missional outreach is a top priority of our congregation. Consider this: if we don't know our community's real needs, we run the risk of choosing our outreach efforts based only on our own assumptions and our own opinions. And on the flip side, if we're not known in the community for our willing servant hearts and outreach ministry, people may know our congregation only as the Pumpkin Church or the Big Church on the Corner. In the future, wouldn't it be amazing if people from across the community Town officials, other churches, local businesses, and more all knew us and knew that we are ready and willing partners. We can't be a hub of Wesleyan discipleship and mission unless people are aware of us as an active, engaged resource partner that's 100% committed to making our community a better place.
Now, for the 2024 focus, you'll remember that our goal is to have 400 people commit to cultivating 6 new meaningful relationships over the course of the next year. The second phrase I want to discuss is new meaningful relationships. Now, some of the questions we've been asking in the Vision team is, what does new mean here? Or even what does meaningful mean? You might hear this and be wondering, who's going to be checking to see if we achieve this? And don't worry, there aren't going to be any relationship police walking around ready to check for compliance. But with this goal, we hope to both invite and challenge our people to be really intentional about investing in their own relationship with God and their connections and reconnections with each other. And the Vision team created this as an aspirational goal. Although the goal is stated in terms of hard numbers, those numbers are not as important as the underlying idea that we are all part of God's family and we are all meant to share in our lives and our experiences together. We were made by God to be in relationship with one another, and the intent for this goal is the impact, not the quantity. Any investment each of us make in demonstrating love to the people around us glorifies God and represents success.
Our annual focus goal is an extension of God's call for us to live in community. Time and again, we see through Scripture the importance of disciples living, learning, and growing together as they deepen their relationship with God. The Vision team felt this was an important first step for our collective work in 2024, and also a powerful way for each of us to embody lives that look more like Jesus. Make your own definition of new and meaningful. It might mean reaching out to someone that you've lost touch with, or making it a point to go beyond hello to somebody in your neighborhood. It could be as simple as getting to know a little bit about the people who sit by you on Sunday morning, or getting to know the person that checks you out at the grocery store. A quarantine led us to a place physically and mentally where we grew used to distance. We're not asking you to go shake hands with everybody in your neighborhood, but we would encourage you to make the time and effort to get to know a few new people over the course of this year. We were made by God so that we can share God's love.
Y'all, it never gets not weird to watch yourself on video. So here we are, many years post-COVID, and I'm still like, oh, here we are. Well, we have made it through all 4 of our focus areas and even shared our vision for 2024, what is it called? Annual focus. And we're going to take a little break again for some discussion around your tables. So table leaders, if you flip your piece of paper over, there are 2 additional questions that you can take notes on this time. And y'all were so great last time that we're going to shorten the time. We're going to give you 10 minutes. I'll come up at 8 minutes to give you a 2-minute warning, and we'll be back in a little bit.
Before I cede my place on the platform back to Brandon here, 2 things. One, just to thank you again for being present today, if you're here in person, or if you're Lord knows if you took the time to watch this whole thing on the internet. Appreciate your care and your commitment, not just for the church as it is today, but the church that we're becoming. This zealous band of Methodists in the land of Fuquay. Obviously, there is much before us, and it's going to take all of us to make this happen. And so before I slid off, I did just want to tell you, you're welcome. I just put estimate of giving cards on every table. See, you're welcome. Over the next few weeks, this is a conversation we're going to be having as a church family. I had an old boss that said that the gospel is free, but ministry costs money. And I never liked it when he said it. And now I'm like, well, you know, he wasn't wrong. Anyway, in preparation for 2024, we asked every team, that's our administrative teams, that's our ministry teams, anyone that owns a part or piece of our budget. We asked them to do 2 things. One was to scale back things in their ministry areas that they felt like were not in line with the vision that we've shared today. And then the second thing that we asked them to do, keeping that number in mind, was to then say, okay, if you were going to go and get after this next year, what would that take? So we have both of those numbers, and our finance team is going to look at both of those numbers. If it's helpful for you to know, and I'm giving this to you as information, this year, in addition to finishing up R3, we're going to have some really exciting news to share about that in next week or two, just FYI. In addition to finishing the work of R3 this coming year, that bump, like what would we do if we were really going to go and get after this? That bump to our budget is between $150,000 and $200,000. And that's in addition, inflation, it's a real thing. I give you that information. I'm not saying that harder choices won't be made through the process, the budget process. That's the work of our finance team to be good stewards of that process, and they will be, I trust. The best way for them to do their work is when the leaders of our church lead our congregation in generosity, and they can make better decisions, wiser decisions, more faithful decisions, the more information they have. And so the estimates of giving, if this is your first time hearing of this, the estimates of giving that we've just put on your table is an attempt to help give them the information that they need. I will tell you that last year, mine was like the last one to come in, and I thought that was a failure of leadership on my part. To be fair, I do a lot of things at the last minute, but it's hard to budget for next year already for my own budget. But I'm going to commit this year to not being the last one to come in. I may not be the first, but I won't be the last. And I would like to invite you to consider, as a leader of our church, and if you're here, whether you believe it or not, Lisa Gant, you are a leader of our church and in our church. And so I offer that to you. Okay, I'm done.
I feel like one day Hope is going to be standing in front of a congregation and she's going to say, I used to work with a pastor who always said, and I wonder if that makes you panic a little bit, like what's going to come next? All right. I have a few things. The first thing is just a very small logistical note, but I want to say it before I lose the chance. If you have been a table leader, if you could make sure before you leave that the blue sheet you have been helping to write things on gets in my hand. I will be up here until I have all 25 of them. So please don't leave it at your table. We definitely want to take those up so we can record all that information that you guys captured. Thank you. Once again, we want to express appreciation for all the folks who have served faithfully on the vision team and in our leadership who helped get us to this point here today. And all of the work that went into discerning and crafting language on our behalf to express this vision. At the same time, I hope it's clear to you that work is not done. The Church Council has identified the need for an ongoing team to continue shepherding this work. And for now, at least, we're calling this a steering team. This is a group of leaders who have signed up to champion each of our focus areas and to help steer our church towards our destination via our waypoints while keeping our eyes on the road and checking our dashboard regularly. Now, the steering team is going to report into the Church Council, and their focus is to ensure that collectively, right, we're following the guidance of this compass that we have kind of defined. Their job is to ask things like, specifically, how are we partnering with God to transform lives and our community? How are we leaning into our focus areas to help our community to look more like Jesus? The steering team is going to collaborate with all of our ministry teams and our congregational leaders to prioritize initiatives and ministries and to ensure that our collective efforts all stay aligned, right? We want to be all pulling in the same direction. I'm going to invite at this time Deb, Elaine, Justin, and Tyler. If you all could come up and join me here for just a moment. This team brings together a group of people from our congregation. This is a combination of laity, some members of our staff, and our pastors. And these folks that are joining us here on the platform each have a passion for their particular focus areas and are excited to begin working alongside of our ministry teams. And up on the screen, you'll see which of the 4 focus areas each of those faithful servants joining me here are going to be championing. We are partnering each of them together with a staff person. Staff champions, I invite you to just stand where you are so that we can see you. One of them is Gabby, who I don't think is in the room. She's helping to keep our children from being everywhere. Also, we have 2 others on our team, Matt Herenstein and Ricky Tharrington. If you guys could stand where you are. There's Ricky. I'm not sure where Matt's in the back. Sorry, lost my place. Here we go. Yes. So Matt and Ricky are going to be, their role is to kind of offer their particular perspectives as well as to provide continuity. They both served on the vision team, right? So just bringing some of that history into the steering team as we kind of do that handoff. And then additionally, I'll be working with this team in capacity as council chair, Pastor Owen as lead pastor, and then Jenna Ramsey and Richie Hines as our lay leaders. So that team of 14 is going to kind of be picking up the work that the vision team has done over the last 6 months and is going to help kind of shepherd it moving forward. So I would invite you to give them all a round of applause. Thank you, guys. You guys can go ahead and have a seat. I am truly excited about the kingdom work that we are getting ready to do. And I could not be more grateful for all of the wonderful people that have brought us to where we are today. Not just the people on these teams, but like all the people who have brought FVUMC to this day, right? I do, however, want to offer some specific thanks to specific people here today. I'd like to name our nominations and leadership development team who kind of hosted this event. They set up all the tables, they've done all of the logistics. So I'm going to, let's just wait until I've gotten through all this, and then if we could just give them all a round of applause, that'd be great. Let's see, Bob Singleton. Bob, are you in the room? He might not be in the room. Bob shot all of the video of us sort of doing real congregation ministry. Like that was all Bob over the last 2 weeks. He's been in this building a lot. He's been church classes, meetings, events to put all that together for us. The rest of the tech team for helping to kind of put the pieces together, to run sound, to run video, to record this event. We want to thank all of you. And especially, I want to thank all of you for being here. Your simple presence here kind of affirms for me that you are invested, that you are committed to FVUMC and to the ministry that we do here in this community. So I want to thank all of you for being here, and if you could join me in a round of applause for those who have helped make this possible.
So much, Brandon. I'm okay with all that. I am going to go ahead and invite up our band friends and praise team to go ahead and get ready to close us out for our last song. But a couple things as they do that, I want to remind you that all of the recordings from today are going to be available, as well as an FAQ document on the website next Sunday, September 24th. You can find all of that the same place you registered, fvumc.org/vision. I also would ask that you keep in mind who is not here. Who are the friends that you regularly are serving alongside that couldn't come today, but you want to make sure that they kind of hear all of this. And if you have family members or close friends that were not here, same thing. Please make sure you share all of this. We'd love to get the vision out as much as possible. And we have a couple things for you to take home. I should have brought all of them up here. You have vision stickers. Can someone... Yes, they're these cute little stickers. Oh, thank you. These cute little stickers. You have compasses on your table. All of that is for you. Yes, beautiful. Thank you for helping me, Vanna. You can take this home. And this one I did bring up. You should have this cute little bag that you can also use to put earrings or bracelets in or whatever, but today it will be used for something even better than that, in my opinion. You have snacks on your table, and you can put your snacks in here to take home, so you have a little treat on the way home. And I love how much y'all love that. That was great. Might be the first time we've used this for snacks, but it's gonna be great. When you see all of these things in your house, particularly the vision sticker and the compass, and maybe your snacks too, if you keep those, I would invite you to remember to pray for our church community, to pray for all of the God-sized dreams that we have shared today. Like this is a lot, and it is not something that we can do on our own power. It's also not something that we can do alone. It's something that we are going to do together, and it is something that we need God. We're going to be kind of traveling towards God, our true north, and we are hopeful in the midst of all of this that our lives and our communities are transformed to look more like Jesus. So thank you all so much for being here, for being a part of this event. And more importantly, if you are here, it also marks the ways in which you have invested in this church community across time, whether as the table that I'm sitting with today, you joined this morning, or you have been around for many decades. We are really grateful for your partnership here today. And our praise team is going to lead us in just a moment. And we intentionally started with worship, and we intentionally will end with worship, because we know that everything that we covered in between, none of it can be done without our God. So let's give our gratitude to God, who knows us with a transformational kind of love. Y'all can go ahead and stand up for our closing set.
I invite all of you to sing along. You will certainly know this. I, the Lord of sea and sky, I have heard my people cry, who dwell in dark and sin, my hand will save. I who made the stars of night, I will make their darkness bright. Who will bear my light to them? Whom shall I send? Here I am, Lord. Is it I, Lord? I have heard you calling in the night. I will go, Lord, if you lead me. I will hold your people in my heart. I, the Lord of snow and rain, I have borne my people's pain. I have wept for love of them. They turn away. I will break their hearts of stone, give them hearts for love alone. I will speak my word to them. Whom shall I send? Here I am, Lord. Is it I, Lord? I have heard you calling in the night. I will go, Lord, if you lead me. I will hold your people in my heart.
I will go if you lead me. I love those words. Let's continue to sing together.
Renew in me a pure and willing spirit. Take me back to where it all began, before it all became so complicated. How I long to be there once again, like a fire that the world can burn out, fan the flame till nothing between us remains. My life is an altar to you. Breathe again on the embers that burn in my heart, a love taken back to the start. My life is an altar to you. Light a fire that the world can burn out, fan the flame till nothing between us remains. My life is an altar to you. Breathe again on the embers that burn in my heart, a love taken back to the start. My life is an altar to you. All the earth will shout your praise. Our hearts will cry, these bones will sing. Great are you, Lord. Sing that again. All the earth will shout your praise. Our hearts will cry, these bones will sing. Great are you, Lord. All the earth will shout your praise. Our hearts will cry, these bones will sing. Great are you, Lord. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise. We pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you only. It's your breath, Lord, in our lungs, so we pour out our praise. We pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you only. We praise you, Lord. We praise your name.
Has been to be together. What a great gift it's been to dream God-sized dreams together, to stand out and look at what might be ahead. Thank you for being a part of what God is doing in the place, in the land called Fuquay-Varina. Friends, as we head out from here, may you receive this benediction. May you go to bear witness to the love of God in this world, so that those to whom love is a stranger may find in you a generous friend. May you go in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen.
Let's sing.
It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise. We pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you, holy Lord.
Some instruction before you head out, and that is would love your help resetting the room. And so if you're able to spend a few minutes and stick around, that would be super helpful. We have 10 tables on this side that are going to stay set up. And so we'd ask all of you that are sitting at a table in the middle or this side of the room, if you can take all of the fun things on your table that are not going home with you and put them on the tables on this side, that would be fabulous. Tablecloths can go on the back row under the clock, and all of the tables and chairs can be reset and stacked. Pat is going to be leading that initiative. Thank you all so much. Great work.